and welcome to Jessica and Julie's podcast. Is this episode 4?
Yeah.
This is episode
right?
4. High five. Nice,
Killing
friend.
it. Although,
doing it up.
I know, but we had meant to do one every month in 2015, and we slacked on 2 months.
Which 2 months?
We didn't do one in March or April.
Yeah, we did.
Nope. We did one the very last day of February, and then we missed March and April, and then now today is May 2nd.
Oh, that's right. I was considering this one April.
Well,
I guess it's not.
Wrong.
This is May.
Yeah. But
Maybe
this
we
one,
can do 2 this month.
we're planning on doing 2, remember?
Yes, we are. We're going to do 2 workout ones.
Yep. Julie's favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
Loving it. Although you did get complimented today that you looked athletic.
I did. We went to the farmer's market for some treats after... What we did this week was go on a hike.
Yep.
We went on a hike in the Topanga Canyon State Park, and I'm not the hiking type.
No. And I wish you could see Julie's face right now because she looks very scared just even starting to talk about the hike. I am the hiking type, however. I love hikes. It's maybe one of my favorite workout activities and outdoor activities.
That's wonderful. It is really nice and peaceful if you don't mind the extra physical activity.
And it's free.
It is free, and there are so many beautiful hiking trails all over.
Actually, not completely free.
Oh, it's not. We had to pay $10
for
parking. However, we could have found street parking if we'd been willing to walk more, but I was not.
Plus, we were
but
already there.
It was Jessica's $10, so.
Pay away.
Yeah, sure.
But we were already there. We were talking to the lady at the gate about the hike, so I thought it would be weird to be like, no.
Oh, I don't want to pay you to, like...
see her walk, like, as we walk through again.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Would
okay.
that have been allowed even? Because...
Yeah, I think so. Because actually all of the hiking trails you have to pay
Okay.
in that area, and I never pay. I always park on the street.
Oh, okay. You just have to... So you don't have to pay to, like, use the trail.
No.
Because it's a state park.
Yeah, it's just to park your car in the... And the trails that we were near was the Eagle Rock Trail, it was the Park Mesa Trail, and then the one that we ended up going on was called the Musch
Trail. M-U-S-C-H.
Yeah, and it was pretty close to where I live. I live in West LA, and so it was just up the PCH, and it was maybe, what would you say, like a half-hour drive up the PCH.
And it was a nice drive, too.
Yeah, it was pleasant.
I feel like all the drives along the PCH are nice.
Yeah, as long as you're not stuck in traffic.
Right.
It is nice. And then we just turned right on Topanga Canyon State Road, right? And then just sort of went through the winding road, and it was maybe like
follow the signs.
10 or 15 minutes through.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all.
So it was pretty easy and really pretty because you're in the middle of the canyon. And there were a lot of sort of fielded parts too. Like, it reminded me of fields, less like...
on the hike?
Yeah, rocky.
Yeah.
Whereas my favorite hiking trail is Temescal, which is up PCH, and you turn right on Temescal Canyon Road.
Is that paved?
It's not paved.
Is it like a wide dirt road? Is it like run-in, or is it more like this hiking trail, Musch hiking trail?
It's probably a mixture of both, I would say. Because with Temescal, you go straight up the mountain, and then you can either come back down, or you do the full route, and it's a loop, which is nice. And it's probably, I don't know how long the trail is, but from where I park my car and through the trail and back is 4 miles total.
Oh, okay.
So it takes me about an hour 15 to do it, because I'll run the back portion of it.
I don't understand when people do that. God bless you. I can't even walk. Like, I can't even run in a straight line, so to, like, imagine running on a hiking trail, like...
Really? Well, I don't run up it, and I don't run, like, I wouldn't go the other route, because
if you run down, don't you feel like you're going to trip and fall?
Yeah, you could trip and fall, but the nice thing on the back route, you're not on, there's no ledges. So the front, there's ledges, and you can see the ocean. The back, you can't see the ocean. You're on the back side of the mountain.
Okay.
And so it's safer, I feel like. So
With no ledges? Oh, you mean like no way to fall
off? No, cliffs. Yeah,
oh,
not
okay,
ledges, cliffs.
You said no ledges, and I thought about Runyon Canyon and those stairs.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not like
Do you remember when I had that huge bruise on my shoulder?
Yeah,
vaguely. For like 2 weeks because I fell into the one, like,
oh, yeah.
hole, and if that hadn't been, that was God. That I know that was God, because I would have careened off of the side of the stairs. And I careened into the pole, and I had a bruise to prove it.
This is all setting up this hike that we took. The woman at the gate showed us a map of the whole park, and she explained like where we were in the park and what trails were in that area. And so the first one, the Park Mesa one, she said is 3 miles one way. And so it's about, 6 miles round trip, and she said that it takes a really, really long time. But if you go to it, you get amazing ocean views. So I would like to do that at some point. Maybe not with
probably without me.
But I would recommend that because she did say it was tough and it was hot. It was pretty hot today because she did ominously tell us to make sure we had water.
I forgot all about that at this point.
Okay. So then she explained there was the Eagle Rock Trail, which was in the canyon, but it was steep. It was straight up. I think she said it was 2 miles.
I think, yeah.
One way, I think.
Mm-hmm. And then back down.
And back down, but once you got to the top of where the Eagle Rock is, you get amazing canyon views and like of the whole valley. So what she told us, there's this Musch Trail, which was a little more shaded, and you go through.
And
it's
by
not
shaded,
steep. It really wasn't shaded.
It wasn't shaded. It was in the forest. It was in the actual forest. Like, I don't know if anybody else is like this, because I know I'm particularly afraid of bugs. But I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, and there are lots of forest preserves, and, you drive on the main roads or the side roads, and you can see, like, little forests everywhere you go, because it's a suburb. And there are a bunch of pine trees, and it's very dense, and sometimes,
okay, nice.
When I'd be looking out from the back window when I was little, while my parents were driving, I would look into there, and I'd see little trails, and I'd be like, wow, if I was brave, that would be so amazing to walk down there and see what it looked like. Well, that's what we did today. We took one of those tiny little trails. I almost backed out right at first. Jessica's very comforting and calming. And so anytime I got scared, she was like, you're okay. You can do it. And I'd be like, I'm scared. We should probably go back. And she'd be like, you're fine. We're going. She led the way.
Yeah, I did lead the way. I don't know if I'd call it the forest, though.
It looked like the forest.
Did it?
There were bridges that we walked over, which actually were beautiful.
Yeah.
I really liked that part. That was my favorite part. It was the least scary.
It seemed more like a meadow to me in parts.
Oh, maybe it was like, a meadow to me makes me think of like open
land,
flowered field.
They were really tall plants. I don't know what you would call those plants, but
they're okay. There was a trail. It was like maybe 1.5 feet long. Or wide, and it was surrounded by, it kind of looked like a cornfield, but it was not corn at all.
Yeah,
it was like tiny, like thin little stalks, and they were taller than us.
Yeah.
Like, we're not
well,
short.
you're tall.
I'm 5'8". You're 5'6".
That's almost 5'6".
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not short.
No, not by any means.
So these were tall things.
Yeah.
And as somebody who is very afraid of nature and bugs, it was alarming, to say the least, to be walking through that. I'm just really trying to avoid. I panicked. We had to go back because I panicked. I started screaming and crying and jumping up and down.
Were you crying?
My eyes did water, but then you ran back to me and I walked away and I
Do you want to explain what happened?
Yes.
So we were sort of going to more of what I would still call a meadow area, but up a slight hill.
But it was home to a lot of different tarantulas, and you can always tell because they make a little hole so that they can feel vibrations, and they crawl into that little hole and like cover it, and you can see like the tiny little hole. It's about the size of a nickel. Other animals and insects burrow into the ground, but the way to tell if it's a tarantula burrow is to see that they have made a web over it. So I thought I had been looking at everything, but I guess Jessica's just really good at distracting me.
Telling some killer stories.
She really was.
Yeah.
She really was. And I had found, my bravery, and I was seeing these things. I wasn't seeing any spider webs, but I was seeing holes. And I watched a lizard run into a hole at one point, which lizards don't scare me at all.
Yeah.
I think they're adorable.
They're adorable.
Maybe it was a lot
of. They look like geckos.
There were
to
a
me.
lot
I
of
don't know
them
what the
in this
difference
trail.
is though.
I don't either.
Yeah.
There were some pretty big ones though. There
Yeah.
were some that were like 8-9 inches long, and then there were some that were like 2 or 3 inches long.
Yeah.
But I saw one of the smaller ones run into a hole, and so I was like, oh, okay, these aren't holes I need to be afraid of. And so then we're walking, and we're, in this, what felt like a very confined meadow area. Like, there was nowhere to run. If a tarantula had just appeared on the trail, it wasn't like I could be like, oh, I'm 9 feet away from it, so that's scary, let's keep walking, I have so much space. It would have been on top of me. And I just, being so afraid, know that it would have just been on me and, like, eating me to death. Well, like, even if it was nowhere near me, if I had even seen, like, a leg poke out. And so I saw one hole that was covered in a very thick funnel-like web. And I was like, oh my God, Jessica, that's a tarantula. And I backtracked. And I was like, that's a tarantula burrow. I can't do this. And she was like, no, come on, friend. And she was, like, already 15 or 20 feet ahead of me, like, walking up this hill. And I was like, no, I can't. And then I looked, I was like, okay.
Well, and then you said if we run.
Yeah, okay.
Up the hill. So then you made me run.
And that's why she was so far, because I made her run. And then I was like, no, I'm scared, because I saw more going up, and I was like, oh my God. Seeing 1 is fine. Seeing 30, or at that point I had only seen, like, 4. I was like, that's more than chance that, like, I'll see a leg poking out, and I'll be really close to it, and it's going to freak me out. And so I started to backtrack. There had to be, like, 30 or 40 tarantula burrows, and I freaked out. You don't agree?
No,
I didn't get a picture of those.
Yeah, 30 or
40. They were everywhere.
Okay.
And I had not noticed them. And then I kept seeing them.
On the way back.
Yeah, and I kept saying, oh God, oh my God, oh my God. And Jessica was like, why don't you just don't look at them? Like, you didn't notice them coming up, just don't look at them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was okay. I tried to focus on the middle of the trail. And then as we got to the part that had been scary to me in the forest, as I called it, I was afraid of that because I didn't know what was going to be in there. But that was like a very hard dirt path. Yeah. And so there were none. I didn't see any webs or anything. Yeah. It was just mostly like flying things and grasshoppers and butterflies.
Butterflies, which someone told us earlier, because Julie asked, are there bugs? And they did not, these 2 poor women had no idea how to respond to that question because I think they're like, you are outside in nature.
They were like...
But they're like, well, there's some bugs, but there's also lots of butterflies, which maybe was enticing.
It was. Butterflies are very pretty.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was really, really scary, so I had to force us to not finish the hike.
But we still hiked. I would say it was still like 2.5 miles, maybe.
I thought you said 3 when you got back into the car.
Yeah, I did.
Did you lie?
No, it is 3, but I wasn't sure if maybe me walking around earlier, I guess I didn't walk half a mile around my apartment this morning. Because I was telling Julie, normally I walk my dog in the morning, I didn't do that, so really the only walking I had done was on this hike.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was
so
almost
3
miles. Yeah, so it's still a good workout. There really wasn't much of an incline.
And when there was, it was interesting. Like I get really bored, and with this hiking trail, it was so interesting. It was so pretty before it got really terrifying.
It was really interesting. It's unlike any trail I've been on.
Yeah.
In
there are
Southern
bridges,
California.
there are rocks.
Well, actually,
to stand
a few
on.
of the trails have bridges over in. Oh, well.
Bridges are my favorite.
Really?
Yeah,
just
they're
in
my
general?
favorite thing. Yeah.
Oh, we talked about that last time.
That's right, because we drove on that one bridge, and I was really excited. Mm-hmm. The bridge from our last podcast.
Yeah.
You'll have to listen.
Yeah. It all comes full circle for us.
Always.
We always like to tie it back to a previous podcast. Just
Can't
to
stop,
keep
won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop tying it back at any cost. Yeah, so I think it's a good place to go back. And what I love about hiking is, one, going by yourself, I think it's great just to get out in nature, and there's so many beautiful places in Southern California and so close to wherever you live. Like, I live on the west side, these trails are closer to me, but I know a lot of people hike in Griffith Park or go to Runyon. There's other hiking trails that I haven't done in the valley that I'd like to try. In fact, I tried, and I don't remember the name of it. Shoot, but I did a really cool hike with a friend of mine who lives out in North Hollywood that I liked. That's her favorite hike because it's right by where she lives. But this was so different from any hike that I've been in. But the one thing that made me sad was how dry it was. And you just could see the effects of the drought really clearly in a place like that because it was very dry. And then even on our way back, there was a fire truck there with some firemen, and they were out.
Is that because did something light on fire, or were they just
I think they're concerned, that something will light on fire because it was hot. It's just so dry, yeah. But I would but I think what I was saying earlier, to go back to my train of thought that I just completely dropped, was I like doing hikes by myself because I don't get bored because I usually listen to a podcast.
Oh, that's nice.
Because it passes the time and I see, and sometimes I'll stop it and take a moment and like look around and notice
that's so nice.
The beauty of what's going on. But I also really love hiking with a friend because I think it's a great way just to catch up with somebody for free and not feel like you have to go out to dinner. Yeah, and get some exercise and just do something.
And then grab lunch afterwards.
On a scale of 1 to 10, Jules, would you recommend this hike? 10 being, yes, I'd recommend it. Because I just saw a blank look on your face.
To whom am I recommending this hike?
First to...
Would I recommend this hike to Andy? Yes. 10.
Okay. But Andy likes to do a lot of outdoorsy stuff, right?
He does. He would not be scared.
Okay.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, yes.
What? On a scale of 1 to 10, and then you go, yes.
Well, because I guess I was thinking, would you recommend this hike on a scale of 1 to 10? So, like, anything below 5 would be a no.
Okay.
Anything above 5 would be a yes. So I was going to say yes, and then give my number.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
I would give this hike a 7.
Okay.
An 8. Well, this is the third hiking trail I've ever experienced, so I'm not qualified to make this decision.
Okay.
Would you recommend this hike?
I would recommend it. As I said, I'd like to go back and maybe do a full loop and plan a day, but God, I'd have to do it soon because it's just getting so hot. I wouldn't want to do it.
Or you could just wait until the summer starts to end. October is tarantula mating season, though, so maybe don't do it then.
I would give it a 8 because I think it's really interesting and unique, but sometimes for me, like, that's why I like Temescal so much, because it's a really good workout and I know I'll be done. If I'm by myself, I know I'll be done with it an hour 15. If I'm with someone, it usually takes a little longer. Mm-hmm. But this, it took longer to get to, and then we didn't even finish it, and we were still there like an hour and a half, I would say.
Well, we had to backtrack also. Like, we didn't even get to like do the full loop. Yeah,
but it was still a good enough workout, but it wasn't an amazing workout. I mean, it's nice to get moving and get walking. So that's why I would give it an 8 and not a full 10. But maybe I'm going to change my mind once I do the full loop. So.
I would be interested to hear your thoughts.
Okay. Maybe there's an addendum to this podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm glad that we did it, especially because you don't hike as much as I do.
I did ultimately have fun.
Oh, good. Anyways, well, thank you for tuning back in.
Yes.
To the 4th episode of Jess and Julie's podcast. This one about hiking, which was free, besides the paid parking. So check back sometime soon for our Workout May podcast.
There we go.
Yep. Getting ready for those beach bods.
Uh-huh.
That was so cheesy.